What is up, everybody? What is up, Omega Crew? All right, this is your boy Prometheus here with the first what if for this channel. All right, so yeah, let's get into it. If before we get started, I need y'all to go check that link in the description to get the link to that Discord. Y'all will be surprised who's in here. We got a few bigger YouTubers, including myself, which y'all could also see my main channel, which is the Dark King Prometheus What Ifs, or the Dark King's What Ifs. You could see my boy Pickpocket Anime What Ifs probably in the description below. My boy Liquid Suits What Ifs down in the description below. You see everyone else that's a part of the Wolfpack, well, the Omega channel, in this description below. So yeah, you'll see a lot of people that y'all probably wouldn't expect to see in the first place. So go hit that description, follow all of the channels down there. Let's get into it. So, what if Deku went back in time? Part one. All right. So how we're gonna get this to work is gonna be a little complicated because I am gonna change the storyline a little. I'm gonna change a few facts about how this works just to convene just to make more convenience for myself and how I do want this series and like how I want this series to be set up. So just deal with it and we'll get into it. So yeah, let's go. What I have set up is let's just go to around 15 years after UA, the third year of UA for Deku. The class 1A students, they all stayed friends through these 15 years since how much drama and all of the things that they went through during the time at UA in the first place. So they stayed close friends and they still hang out almost every week. So yeah, this is 15 years after their third year at UA, and I say 15 years for a reason. On their third year of UA, this is when All for One eventually did die. It took of the forces of all of 1A and a lot of pro heroes to do it, but Offer One was eventually and inevitably killed. And if he's already dead in canon, we're just gonna switch that here. We're gonna switch that now. He's dead around the end of their third year, and before he died, he did give Shigaraki his Offer One, and since it has been around 2 years since the first year, Shigaraki's been trying to better himself. He knew that All for One knew that Shigaraki's childish behaviors were not going to be working for if he had All for One. So he told him that when he does eventually get All for One, he's going to have to train, learn to control his emotions, learn to actually act like an adult, grow up. So Shigaraki actually took this to heart. So inevitably, when All for One did die, and he gave away his quirk, Shigaraki spent those 15 years bettering himself, growing up, thinking like an adult, actually becoming a strategist, a master one at that, thinking of a perfect plan to get rid of the Hero Society, get rid of One for All in the first place. And he spends those 15 years gathering people. So during those 15 years, villains did calm down. The ones that didn't work with Shigaraki, those are the ones that actually just stayed being villains the same way that they always had. They did what normally did, and villains did calm down. So Shigaraki technically made villains more organized. Most of all villains more organized. He did a lot of work. He did a lot of things through these 15 years. Deku became the number one hero after a while. Endeavor never retired because we all know that he wouldn't, but he was getting older, so he knew that he couldn't be number one hero forever. But he was the number one hero for at one point, so he'll take it. So yeah, it's been 15 years now, and Shigaraki's finally ready to seek out the plan that he started 15 years ago. This plan being so high end that he had during these 15 years he had taken his time perfecting over exactly 15 nomes, perfect nomes. He couldn't ever get the fact that their head was their weakness, but he perfected their quirks. He perfected everything about them to the point that it's going to be hard enough for their heads to be hit in the first place. But these were the some of the these were the best snow moves, and he that's why there's only 15. He was only ever able to make one per year because the quirks that were required were very hard to get, and the material, the actual time and the effort that you needed to put into this was very hard taking, very long consuming. So yeah, this is why exactly it took him 15 years to do this. He got so many villains in him. This is when his reign started. He started getting all of the heroes, all of them. No one was safe. No one, absolutely no one. So after around a year of him terrorizing everything, he had managed to kill almost all of the heroes, and I mean almost all of them. Hiroshima at this point had already passed on. Uraraka, Momo, almost all of One Hey was completely gone, or completely obliterated off the face of the earth. Besides for Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, and Eri. And I leave these four for one reason, because these were the strongest three out of 1A for the first years of their year. And during this time, Bakugo and Deku had actually gotten close. They had actually built a bond together like brothers. They knew that like they had a rough past, but they were actually getting closer, and Todoroki was actually closer with them. So like they did a lot of hero work together, and they joined the same hero, like created the hero agency together to actually just for the kicks of it. So they were the only ones that were able to withstand Shigaraki for over a year. And yeah, Eri at this point around closer to 25, a little older, maybe give or take a few years. But she spent this time, all of this time, trying to figure out how her quirk works, how to master it in every way. Hmm. But yeah, so she mastering it was a very long and difficult job, but eventually she did figure out one very, very weird thing. She was able to rewind instead of just rewinding objects and rewinding people. She was able to rewind time too, but only ever for one specific person. So she was a, and she it wasn't just like rewinding that person's time to the point that they come back to the age when they're a kid, because she can't do that. But she was able to rewind time around everything. So how would they? What she ended up figuring out how to do is only with one person at a time. Um, and like she only ever figured this out because she tested it on herself because she didn't want to test it on anyone else. So she started off with small long time. She would rewind her rewind her own self back 5 minutes, and she would notice that her body, like if she wanted her, no matter what she rewinded, it would always rewind into the more like the exact state that her body was in at that exact moment. She would rewind herself maybe 2 days, and she would notice that instead of being in the exact same place that she rewinded herself, she would be in the place that she was 2 days ago. So she eventually came to the conclusion that it only technically rewinds your mind. So your mind and every ability that, like everything that you already have. So if you were to like say that you was to rewind someone with immense power, it would rewind that person and their power level at that exact time back to wherever she sends it, but it would be in the technical body or body size of that person when they were at the time that they were rewinded to. So she came with that conclusion, and she knows that this takes a lot of energy out of her. She's only ever max taken someone back maybe 10 years, and she would only ever do these to people with cancer to give them more time and to at least let them live their life better. And she has done this for a few people, so and she was only able to do this maybe like once maybe 3 times a year, with to taking anyone back at least closer to 10 years or more. But 10 years was always close to her max. She could always take someone back months, and that would be easier. But she decided 10 years would be a good time because that would give them over enough time to like have kids, like have time to spend with their kids, know the things that were gonna go happen, and be prepared for them. So yeah, that's why I'm keeping Gary alive for right now. But Shigaraki would eventually find them, and Endeavor was still around. All Might had passed from old age, and like the tiredness, the tiresomeness of the fact that how tired his body was, he eventually did pass. But Shigaraki would eventually find Deku and all of them, but before he could do anything, Harry would have already explained through that year that she can send someone back, but she never explained that how much that it would do to her body. She only explained that she could take one person back, but Deku thinking that they still had a chance and having still all the hope that he already had. Like he was losing hope more and more by the day, but by the end of the year, he still wouldn't want to risk Gary's body like that because he also knew that there the farther back that she would send them, it would all sometimes not go to send them back to the exact moment that she needed them to go. So if she wanted to go back like exactly 10 years to the day, it might take them back 10 years minus a few months plus a few months. But due to the fact that she wants to send Deku back exactly 15 years, she doesn't know exactly if that's going to take it 15 years by months or go even farther than 15 years and take him back to either their birth or exactly when. So she doesn't know exactly what she's going to have to use all of her energy for this. And once the minute that Shigaraki enters that door, she does it without even thinking, knowing that this might be their last chance. She sends Deku back. She tries to send him back 15 years to the day, the exact day that Shigaraki went missing and went MIA, but it doesn't work. Instead of sending him back to the exact day that Shigaraki went missing, on the last day of their third year away, she accidentally sends him back even farther, mm, around over closer to 25 years, to when Deku was around 4, to when Deku's body was around 4. 3 days before the Quirk, when he first went to go get his Quirk exam. 3 days before Bakugou had gotten his Quirk, and even months before Todoroki even got his card. So he didn't think, like, he was actually even a little more glad about this because he knows that now he has the ability to retrain his body get like have more time to give information out, get people ready, and have a lot of more things ready. And he already knows who the imposter was. He doesn't want to say anything because he wants to check. He wants to keep that imposter there because he knows that the imposter was probably one of the most helpful things that the villains had, along with also the most helpful people that tools that the students had was to figure out who it was around closer to the end of their first year, and they utilized her through the. And yes, it was a female. They utilized her throughout the entire of their second and third year of UA, but without her knowing and thinking that she never actually got caught. But yeah, so but yes, uh, when he got sent back, he one for all became automatically dormant. He had already mastered every person's all of the last all of the older one for all members like people before All Might, all the people that had one for all. He had already mastered all of their abilities. He just had used them now because the fact that one for all is dormant. Since that technical body has never actually ingested the hair from one for all of this time. So he can't use one for all until he eventually re-gets one for all. And when he does, he'll know exactly how to use it. But what he ends up doing, we skip 3 days to the day that Bakugou gets his quirk, and he sees that it's tiny explosions. And he's like they're walking around that little log. Bakugou falls, but before he falls, Deku has such fast reflexes that he catches Bakugou and brings him back up, knowing that this was already gonna happen. And Bakugou's like, "Whoa, Deku, I didn't notice that you had reflexes so fast." But I just got my quirk. I just got my quirk. Yay! And Deku would just say, "Explosions." That seems like that's a very perfect fruit for you. That's gonna be a very nice quirk if you get that stronger. Is Bakugo just says, thank you, Izuku, since they are still friends at this point. But yes, so Bakugo goes to the Quirk Doctor, and Deku goes to the Quirk Doctor, already knowing exactly what to expect, but and already know to keep his cool because he doesn't know the Quirk Doctor is the actual person that was making the Nomu in this timeline. So sorry for all this yawning, but yeah, he doesn't know that the Quirk Doctor was the person that made the Nomus in this timeline yet. Like he knows that he did it in the future, but he can't show that he knows that because that would probably be the worst for Deku than anyone else. So yeah, he keeps his calm, and the Quirk Doctor said he won't get a quirk, but Deku's not even phased by it. He already was expecting it, so he just says, "Okay, all right, bet. If I don't have a quirk, then I will train my body to over superhuman limits to be as strong as people with quirks. I will become the strongest quirkless person known to every man and known to any man, and eventually become the number one hero." Being quirkless and Inko seeing the exact confidence on Deku's face, seeing the fact that Deku wasn't even bluffing and seeing a new side of Deku that she had never seen before. But 3 days ago, for her, he was still like a small kid, and now he's acting like he's the king of the world. And she's like completely excited for this because she's like, "Wow, it's like," she says, "Yes, don't say my son can't do something that he obviously knows that he can do. He will become a hero." Like she believes this now because of the assignment that Deku had. So yeah, they leave, and then Deku just says, "Mom, I want to start taking martial arts classes." As she just says, "Okay, Izuku." I heard what you said earlier, so let's start. You choose the martial art teacher, and I'll get you signed up for it. As Deku says, okay, as he would spend exactly 3 days, another 3 days, well, another 2 days, since this was the Friday, this would be a weekend. He would spend Saturday and Sunday looking looking to exact location of where a special someone was, someone that he had heard only legends about, someone that he had only ever heard stories from All Might, someone that he hadn't ever actually met in his time because by that time she had already moved out of Japan and like become like lived alone just for since she never found someone that she could train. So knowing that she would still be in this Japan at this moment, Deku on that Sunday night, he would show his mom this person as she would just say, "Okay, you choose her. I'll get you. We'll go see her tomorrow after school." As Deku leaves, goes to school the next day, and he just tells everyone that he's quirkless, but he still will become a hero. As Bakugou just says, "You quirkless Deku. Yeah, Deku. That's what you're gonna be called." Useless as Mako tries to punch Deku as Deku dodges completely, like just sidekicks Bakugo, makes Bakugo fall to the face and just says, Bakugo, temper. You're gonna have to get that in check if you want to be a hero." As Deku just walks away, and like it's the end of the school day, as he gets home and him and his mom go to meet this person that Deku has chosen to be, see if she would accept him as a student. As like she just once they get there, they see a kid that was already there come out crying since she said that he couldn't learn. As she Iko would go in with Deku, and it was a technically nice dojo, but no, there was no students there. As she would just, Iko would just say, "My son would like to you to train him in martial arts." As this woman, which now I'll explain exactly who this woman is. Her name is Katana. The only reason that I'm adding her in as an OC for this series is because the type of martial arts that Deku will be learning, sh- and this exactly came from an idea of a friend, which the type of martial arts that he will be learning is Wing Chun, and Savannah is actually the daughter of Ipman, someone even All Might respected back in the day. One of the he never became a hero, but this is a person that Gran Torino was good friends with back in his day. He is already long past, but his daughter did train in Wing Chun too. But I am going to change a few things about it. So for this, Wing Chun is going to be a mixture of every major martial arts. Like technically is the world's best type of mixed martial arts. It's a combination of every martial arts mixed into one, and using this one specific style. It's one of the strongest and most useful styles that people have ever been able to use, but only their family or well, not only her family, but only people with the motivation and mentality to stick with this for closer to 10 years for someone to even get you for most people normally to even get close to mastering half of them. But she would say she would look into Deku's eyes and she would see the fire burning, noticing that this kid has more motivation than almost any student, any like kid or adult that she's ever seen. As Deku would look at his mom and say, "No matter what happens, don't do anything, don't say anything. I accept anything that she does." as she Deku already think probably knowing exactly what's about to go down. She says, "Okay, as a test, I will have to see exactly how exactly your mental state is. I want to see if what I'm about to do to you is gonna be okay for you. Or are you just gonna run and leave?" As Deku just said, "I'm ready for whatever you have." As he just goes, and he literally just goes, "All right, now, okay, let's do your best." As she starts like fighting Deku, and Deku is like using some of the martial arts that he's already picked up through the years, not anywhere near as good as he was because his body is so much smaller and he has nowhere near the strength that he already had. But he can like dodge a little better, so she's actually surprised and she sees how like agile that Deku really is, and she whenever she gets a hit on Deku, she notices that he gets right back up no matter how much pain he's in. And after about like 10 minutes of this, she eventually lets it go and she says, "I will train your son. Your son is the first person that I have ever chosen to train because he's the first person to pass this test. Every other kid or adult would have already left by this point, thinking that this was complete BS about this, but your son has chosen to stay, so I will take him." So Inko says, thank you. How much will I have to pay you?" As she would just say, none at all. This will be free classes because I enjoy my work. I do this for fun. This isn't a job for me. And the fact that your son passed the test with so delicately that this might actually be fun for me to train him. So this will all be for free classes. So yeah, we skip 10 years to when. Well, don't skip 10 years because that would be. We skip until when Deku was 12, around second year of middle school. Well, around the first year of middle school. By this time, it's only been 8 years, but he has literally mastered every martial arts and become a black belt in every one. As she was completely shocked about this because it would normally take someone 10 years to master half, but it took him 8 to master them all. And she's like, this kid is something different. This kid masters martial arts like he's just it's just a normal thing for him. So I think I know exactly who to call about this. As she would call All Might, a friend of hers. So she would call All Might, and at the moment she like when Deku first started training with her, she was around 20. And at this moment in time, it's been around 8 years. She's 28. So she calls All Might and she says, "Toshi, I think I might actually have a good candidate for you. He mastered all the martial arts in only 8 years," and even All Might's completely shocked about this. And like he's like, "Wait, I didn't even know you started training someone. You said this would have been 8 years? This kid must be good. Do you think that he would be worthy?" As she would say, "Yes, due to what I've seen, he's one of the most pure-hearted people that I've ever met. He cares a lot about people, and he's one of the smartest people that I've ever met. One of the smartest kids that I've ever met. So I think that he would be a good choice. Just to wait until he gets closer to UA. Around give me about maybe another 3 years, and then you can come and see exactly how he's going up to. And just to Deku might be 12, but his body has been trying to acclimate to his actually adult, full-grown adult body. So he's 12 with the body that he had when at the around closer to the end of his first year. That like all of this training, all of that he's done, that's how strong his body is. At this point, his body is technically as was when he was able to, with like 5% of one for all, and he's able to completely easily just use his normal body like it normally is. As we skip another 3 years to when he's 15, last day of UA, and the teacher walks in, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you your career assessment, so you guys could choose a career field to go into." But with that, everyone just start like the teacher just starts laughing, throws the paper up, and does the same thing that he did in canon. As he would say, "I know y'all want to be heroes, and we have two people trying to go into UA." As he just says, Katsuki Bakugou and Azuka Midoriya. As everyone looks back at Azuka, and no one says anything about this because Bakugou and everyone in the school has tried to fight Deku, but he has completely stood his ground and beat down the entirety of the school whenever they try to fight him. Because at this point, Deku doesn't take shit. He's watched all of the people that he cared about died. He knows that Eri died because the fact that she used that so much energy. So he has watched almost everyone he has ever cared about die. He has watched the world burn. He doesn't take shit from anyone. He knows that he has the same technical heart that he always had, but he doesn't take shit. He like stands his ground and isn't as like um he doesn't have the same personality that he had back in the entire through the entire series. So everyone knows that, and like people who try to fight him, everyone, no one has ever beat him because they might have quirks, but the speed that he has, like the strength that he has, is too overwhelming for them. It's too strong for them because like the martial arts style that he has uses the other opponent's strength against them. So the opponent's strength goes against their own self. So yeah. Um. So no one questions it. Bakugou doesn't even question it. Like at this point, Deku and him are just completely chill since Bakugou learned to stop fighting Deku because always going to end up worse for him. And Deku has tried calming down Bakugou's temper to the point that he knows that it can be eventually. So Bakugou's a little calmer now. His personality is getting closer to what it is in around season 4. But yeah, so hmm. The school day ends and Deku leaves, getting ready, already ready for the Sludge attack. But you know what? This is gonna be where I'm gonna leave the what if off. If y'all liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the little link in the description. But as always, see y'all in the next vid. Peace.